Hello. Today for our warm-up, we're going to focus on breath. Now, breath is really important for singing. As you know, we need really good support from down low. I talk a lot about creating a ton of space for your voice, right? You've heard me say this before. We tend to go out in the world thinking that our voice is only this big, or this big rather, kind of starting here at our voice box and coming out of our mouth, that it's this big. We talk sometimes about how to get your voice resonating up higher, up here, creating space over the top, but then of course really important that we get your whole entire body involved, okay? So let's talk toes and all the way up. This is really good practice for some of the anxiety a lot of us are probably feeling right now as well. So what I want you to do is sit in a chair, sit on the edge of your seat so you can feel the bony part of your bum on the edge of your seat. And this way, your spine will have a lot of room to be straight. And that spine being straight means that your ribs and your lungs have a lot of room to expand, right? When we're crunched over, crunch over for me and just kind of feel it. So when you're crunched, when you're slouched, think about what's happening with your stomach. Think about what's happening with your lungs and your ribs. Everything's really contracted, right? But when we stand up straight, we've got all this room for our lungs to really be able to get a ton of air in and a ton of air out. All right? So let's focus our breath for a second. I want you to close your eyes and sit up nice and straight in your chair and get both of your feet firmly on the floor. So there's 4 corners of your feet, okay? Or we're going to imagine that there are 4 corners, 2 corners back by your heel, and then 2 more corners up at the base of your toes, right where the ball of your foot is. Imagine that all 4 of these corners are really, really locked into the floor, as if they had nails on them or screws on the bottom of them, and you're really screwing them into the floor. I guess it's kind of a gross analogy, but just as an image. A nicer analogy would be imagining that your feet had roots growing out of them. So nice and firm on the floor. Imagine that there are tree roots growing out of your feet and into the earth below you. Trees are nice and tall. They've got a lot of room for breathing, a lot of space, and they're very flexible, right? They can move around in the wind a lot better than sometimes we can. So from here, I want you to take a really big breath in through your nose and imagine that that breath is coming in through your feet. So let's try that. Breathe in through your feet. Now breathe out through your feet. And again, breathe in through your feet and out through your feet. I want you to imagine like all this breath coming in is coming in through the bottom of your feet and filling up your entire body. So in, and then let it all go through the bottom of your feet. One more like that. Fill up your whole body. And then let it go. Beautiful. Now I want you to imagine when you're breathing out like this, breath is coming out of the top of your head, okay? The top of your head here, right here. If you had a really high ponytail in your hair, right? Right at the top of your head, not from here, but up on the top. Imagine like the breath that you're breathing out is shooting out of the top of your head and blowing on the ceiling, hitting the ceiling above you, okay? So close your eyes again, focus on sitting up nice and straight. Your feet have tree roots coming out of them. Breathe in through your feet, fill up your body, and breathe out through the top of your head. This will make you feel nice and tall. Breathe in through your feet, breathe out through the top of your head. Getting taller and taller every breath. In through the feet, out through your head. One more, nice and tall, in through your feet, out the top of your head. Beautiful. One more quick breathing exercise. A lot of the time when we breathe in, just like the exercise we were doing, when we were breathing in, we were kind of thinking up. And when we were breathing out, well, on that one we kept thinking up, right? But a lot of the time when we breathe out, we imagine this deflation, this kind of falling out, right? On this one, I want you to imagine, like when you're breathing in, you're pushing or you're lowering a bucket into a well, okay? And that when you're breathing out, you're pulling up that bucket. We want to find a lot of length when we're breathing out, okay? I'll explain why after we try this exercise, okay? So I want you to breathe in through your nose, lowering that bucket. Ready? Breathe out and pull it back up. In and out. Last one, in and out. Beautiful. Now I want you to do that same thing, but this time I want you to hiss out. And maybe we're lowering the bucket even farther and we have to pull it even farther up, okay? So breathe in, really breathe in. Now hiss. Till your lungs are really deflated. Now fill them back up. And hiss. Empty them all the way out and then fill them back up. Gorgeous. Now let it go, shake it out a little bit. Awesome. Now I talked about wanting to find some length when you're breathing out, right? Instead of this deflating, finding some length. Because again, we talked about that slouching, and if you're really working hard when you're breathing out, do me a favor and really slouch down like this while you're breathing out. Take a nice deep breath in, and now slouch, crunch your body and breathe out. You find that your lungs actually have less action when you crouch like that, because your lungs are these giant balloons, right? And if I give them tons and tons of space and I flatten them like this with that length and I almost pull the balloon this way, I can get all the air out of it, right? If I'm crunched, I'm trying to crunch the air out of the balloon like this, it's gonna be a lot harder and a lot weirder, okay? So we want that length. So one more time, I want you to imagine like there's a string being pulled at the top of your head, like you're wearing a high ponytail, or like I'm taking a chunk of hair and going up, up, up like that. And I want you to take a nice deep breath in, and then all we're gonna do is sing a couple of notes. We're just gonna go, ah, but I want you to sing this last note for as long as you can. You're gonna feel those lungs deflate, and when they get really, really, really empty, fill them back up, okay? So here we go. Breathe in. Those lungs are gonna get nice and empty, and you feel a little bit of crunch in your abs. Now fill them back up. Nice and tall. Keep going until your lungs are really, really, really empty, getting taller and taller and taller and taller and taller. Now fill them back up. Nice and empty. Get a little bit taller. Good. Whew. That gave me kind of an ab workout, right? Because that lower part of your body is going to work really hard to find length and strength in your core versus just kind of crunching out and pushing out that breath from here, you know? Hold on one second. I got to turn my speaker on. Okay. Now we'll try something a little bit harder. We're going to go We'll do a little bit of a longer phrase here. We're gonna go nai, nia, 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 ni. Actually, I'm gonna make it longer for you. We're gonna go nia, 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 ni. And then you'll take a little breath and go nia, 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 ni. Okay? On both of the ends of the phrases, we're gonna really let it go and get that breath, really as much breath out as you can. So let's try it. Nia, 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 ni. Creating a lot of length, really hold it out. Now take a breath. Nia, 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 ni. Getting taller and taller as you breathe out. Good, breathe in. Nia, 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 ni. Till you're empty, open up. Nia, 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 ni. Good. Now I know you have enough breath to get through both of those phrases because you've held out the end of them for so long. I know you can get through both of them. It might push your breath just a little bit, but feel that little crunch in your abs, that little bit of tightening in your stomach. And when you feel that, try to lengthen up a little bit more through the top of your body to give your lungs even more space to get more air out, okay? Oops. So we're gonna sing both of those phrases back to back without taking a breath. Let's see if you can do it. We don't have to hold the notes out as much. Maybe listen to this first one before you try it. Nia, 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 ni. Nia, 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 ni. Try it. Nia, 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 ni. Nia, 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 ni. Ooh, I'm almost out of breath there. Fill it back up. Nia, 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 ni. Nia, 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 ni. Good. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed, your neck is relaxed. Nia, 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 ni. 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 Good. Nice relaxed jaw. Nia, 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 ni. Nia, 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 ni. Are your feet still flat on the ground? Nia, 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 ni. Nia, 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 ni. Is your spine still nice and straight? Nia, 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 ni. Nia, 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 ni. Last one, fill it all the way up. Nia, 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 ni. Nia, 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 ni. I almost lost my breath there, but the trick is, right when you feel like you're out of breath, just lengthen just a little bit more and you'll actually find that you'll be able to get some extra out. Breathing is very counterintuitive, I find. I find that right when I'm out of breath, if I actually tell my body, it's okay, you're not out of breath, keep on going, your fight or flight can actually calm down a little bit and you can actually get a little bit more out. Once you say to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm out of breath right now, your body might panic and tense up just a little bit, and in fact, you'll lose your breath. That's why you tend to lose your breath when you perform live. Have you ever sang out in public and said, oh my gosh, I usually get through this, no problem, and I feel like I can breathe, and then all of a sudden you play live, and it's like, suddenly you're out of breath. That happens to me a lot. It's because our nerves are using extra energy, okay? So staying nice and calm, keeping those shoulders down. Your shoulders down are a nice good signal to your body that everything's okay. Once the shoulders come up, you're saying, okay, I'm stressed out, this is scary. We're gonna try a longer one, okay? And this one's a little bit harder, but I think you got it. We're gonna go, let me see what word I want you to do this on. How about La-dee-da, 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 la-dee-da. Okay, so we're saying la-dee-da. Keep that jaw relaxed, the shoulders relaxed. That'll send signals to your brain saying everything's fine. When you're running out of breath, get nice and tall from the top of your head. Maybe listen the first time through so you can get the hang of this. Okay, we're gonna go. La-dee-da, 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 la-dee-da-dee. So a D at the end. Okay? It's a tough one, but again, just give yourself lots and lots of space. Get those feet firm on the floor. Get your bum, your sits bones, nice and firm on your seat, and then that spine is going to be nice and long. There's a string coming from the top of your head, and you'll have lots of space to breathe, okay? Let's try it. Ready? Big breath. La-dee-da, 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 la-dee-da-dee. Let's try it here. La-dee-da, 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 la-dee-da-dee. Another counterintuitive practice. Right when you feel like you're out of breath, can you sing a little bit louder? Again, that'll tell your body you've got enough to get through. It's counterintuitive. You want to hold back, but really let it go right when you feel like you're losing your breath. Let's try right here. La-dee-da, 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 la-dee-da-dee. Good. La-dee-da, 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 la-dee-da-dee. One more. La-dee-da, 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 la-dee-da-dee. Are you still relaxed? Take a second, take another deep breath, and really get heavy in the shoulders. So breathe in, relax your shoulders. Breathe in again and imagine your spine relaxing. Relax that spine. Now take one more deep breath in through your feet. Breathe out through the top of your head. Let's do one more like that. Breathe in through your feet. Fill up your whole body. Out through the top of your head. Good. Use this video every day, especially as you experience anxiety about everything going on. Spending some time really pushing your breath to the limit will slow down that fight or flight response, and actually I feel so much more peaceful after this last 18 minutes of doing this warm-up. Okay? All right. See you soon.